What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fight Scene. This is my YouTube channel where I go over all things MMA, and today I want to do a second review on the EA UFC 3 video game. I've done a review on this game in the past. I had played it for a couple of hours right after it came out. You can check out that review here. I'll put a YouTube card if you want to take a look at that review. And I had played it for about 4 hours a couple of days before it was released. And I had some really positive things to say about the game, and I really enjoyed it for that night. I played the demo, and so I put up a review saying how I enjoyed the game, and I thought that it was a lot more realistic, and that I thought it was a really good game. And I got some negative comments on that video, people saying that one guy said I was being paid by EA or paid by the UFC and all this stuff. And I think the general consensus is that this game isn't very good, or at least it's certainly not as good as EA UFC 2. And so I wanted to make a second video. I've been playing the game now for about 3 weeks, about 3 weeks, and I wanted to make a video update on my thoughts on the game, which the short version is that I really do agree that the game is not great. And I think that I'm sad because I did get a lot of gameplay time out of EA UFC 2, and I'm sad that this game isn't really good. The big thing that I thought was going to be the best improvement in the game was the head movement changes and the changes to footwork and movement more laterally in striking. And so I thought that would be a big deal. And I thought that it was just because I was really bad at it that I thought if somebody is good at this, they'll really be able to make it more realistic. But as I've gotten better at the game, I realized that it's just not really that special. And the sacrifice that they've made in order to add the movement is they've gotten rid of parrying, which is just a disastrous thing to take away from the game. There's really no reason for a fighter to not just throw to the head or body constantly. And yes, there's blocking damage that will eventually go away, but the challenge is that before, if you were throwing a jab to the head, there was a real danger that if you were too predictable, your opponent would parry and counter, and you would take significant damage. Well, now there's no parrying, and so there's no consequences for me to be predictable. And this comes into play, especially when we're talking about leg kicks. Now, leg kicks were broken in EA UFC 2 because they were measured as a significant strike. And so, that for a decision purpose was not a great thing. In EA UFC 3, they're all the more broken because your opponent can throw them over and over and over again, and you have no recourse defensively but to either try and not be there and be out of the way, or to check them. The challenge is that the amount of damage that leg kicks do in this case is so significant that even if you check a leg kick, your opponent can drop you or finish the fight even if you've checked it because you've taken so much damage to the leg. And you have no option. In EA UFC 2, if an opponent spammed leg kicks like I do now in the third version, if your opponent was spamming leg kicks, you would parry that leg kick, get out of the way, and then return with big damage. But with the removal of parrying, now there's nothing for you to do. And so with leg kicks being as powerful as they are, you can walk in there and basically throw leg kicks all you want. And yes, your opponent will check them, and that might do some damage to your leg. But a lot of the time I've had people just damage up my leg, and even when I check that leg kick, it drops me. Or I've had a number of fights finish because of the leg damage that I've taken, even when I checked the finishing strike, which is just ridiculous. And in my first review, I thought that the game really emulated striking a lot more clearly, and in some ways, I do believe that's true. So, for example, one commenter said that body kicks are super slow and clunky. Now, he's right. They are incredibly clunky. The speed of the kick, though, is, I think, more keeping with the realism of striking. So, for example, in the past editions of the game, you could throw 15 cartwheel kicks in quick succession with no consequences except for cardio. And in this game, you can't really do that. You do need to string together things that make sense. So, for example, you need to be throwing right kicks off left hand strike. So you got to throw a right kick off a jab or a hook, and that makes sense. That's going to be more fluid. You can make those things happen faster. For a lot of the people that say that the game is super clunky, I think that they're used to just being able to throw any strike and it being thrown at the same speed no matter what. And if you don't believe me and you play the game, just go in and throw a jab, right leg kick. And if you throw a jab and then you wait and throw a right leg kick, it's going to be slow and clunky. But if you throw jab, right leg kick very quickly, then it'll happen in the game as one combo and happen smooth and quickly. So some of the striking is clunky, but some of it is a lot better and smooth if you throw the combo in the right way. The challenge is that you just need to know what the combos are. In the end, the fact that they haven't changed the ground game, which I do think needed some improvement, and with the striking being what it is, I'm not enjoying the game. So it's not particularly that the game is worse or than EA UFC 2. I do think it is worse, but that's not even it. Even if the improvements are the ones that they're going to keep with the future, I just find myself not enjoying the game at all, to be honest. I am playing the online game mode a little bit just because my channel sort of revolves around EA UFC 3 as a backdrop to my commentary on the actual live MMA events. And so I want to be kind of good at the game. But the reality is, it's just not something I enjoy. I used to play the second version of the game probably 10 minutes every day because I could just pick it up, play it really quickly, and put it down and have a lot of fun. But in this one, I'm just, it's like I have to pressure myself to play, which is ridiculous that I would have to be in that kind of situation. And so I'm very disappointed. I really do wish they would go back. Like I said, my favorite version of all of the games is UFC Undisputed 3. Yeah, there were some things that weren't as good. Like the head movement was very silly, really. You had to flick and you'd move your head. It was kind of stupid. But again, the pride mode in that game, I don't know why they haven't added a pride mode to any of the other games, because the UFC owns the rights to pride, and then you get more of that open weight kind of situation and knees to the ground and just a change up. I mean, that's one simple improvement they could have made in this game that would have really made it stand out, but they continually don't put that in. So I'm really disappointed in this game. For those of you who had said that they didn't enjoy the game in my first video, 3 weeks later, review 2.0, I have to agree with you. I don't love the game. I hope that they make some improvements. Maybe they can patch certain things. I'm not 100% sure, but it's just not as good of a game. I'm not enjoying the Ultimate Team mode. I'm not enjoying the online competitive play. I haven't poured any time into my Created Fighter and Ultimate Team. And I think that they just need to balance the game a lot more, in particular with the removal of parrying. That is a significant part of the game that's been taken away. And so if they could figure out a way to do head movement and still include parrying, then I think that they might have something on their hands. But right now, it's just not as good of a game as EA UFC 2. And so I hope that they don't wait another 3 years or 2 years or however long it's been to put out the next version of the game, because that will be a long wait for somebody who really enjoys the series, plays it a lot. That would be a really long time to wait for the next thing to come out. So I hope that we see something before then. Anyway, that's my opinion on this game. Like I said, this channel is more focused on live UFC events and my prediction, analysis, breakdown, whatever you want to call them, on the upcoming events. I'll be putting out some videos soon on the UFC 222 fight card with Cyborg and Frankie Edgar. And so keep an eye out for that, and thanks for watching.